There's some shell companies in Malaysia, and they usually keep switching from one ship. They have a really clever network. So what they do, for example, one strategy is to take Iranian oil and mix it with Iraqi oil, right? So you can't. It's really hard to separate the Iraqi oil with the Iranian oil. And then you basically go into some places where no one watching. You keep moving it from one ship to another until you cannot tell which oil is whose, and then you come and sell it to a Malaysian company, and Malaysia then sells it to China. And it's very interesting because Malaysia is now showing so much export of oil that they do not have, and it's mostly Iranian oil. But there's always a way because people want the oil, so there's always a way to just sell it. Here's actually the tragedy: if all the sanctions work, there's still one loophole around. Imagine if you actually can completely close all ways for the Islamic Republic to sell its oil. Do you know there's still a way to sell your oil without getting your oil outside of Iran? Do you know what that is? Anybody can think that? Without even moving, without getting your oil outside of Iran, oil and gas, there's still a way to sell it to outside of Iran without getting the oil even out. Anybody know? Any suggestion?
Move production in Iran?
A production of what?
Whatever you're using the oil for?
You could, yeah, I mean, you could burn it for Bitcoin or crypto. So, and this would be, you could basically start just burning all of it and using the energy to mine for cryptocurrencies, and basically all the pollution. Imagine all the oil and gas that is supposed to be burned in multiple different countries. Imagine what that does to the air pollution in Iran if you just burn it all in one country for cryptocurrency to sell the cryptocurrency instead. I mean, that is what they're doing to a large degree. But imagine if that, like, the one reason why Iran is becoming the air pollution in Iran is so high is because the government is mining Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So yeah. Yeah, the government. I'm saying the government is really smart. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people think that they're just a whole bunch of crazy religious maniacs. They're not. They actually have a lot of good strategies to survive. You shouldn't underestimate your enemy. Go on, Khalid.
I have a question. Maybe- I have a question. Can't you use ethnic tension to divide them? Like, can't you just use the Kurds, the Arabs, the Persians, and other ethnic groups to like divide Iran? Not divide. I mean, start a civil war so that the government collapses, or does not work?
Well, you're talking about, first of all, the government is using that method, but that wouldn't make the government collapse. That would be against Iran, not against the government. That would be beneficial for the government. That's why they're using ethnic tensions. Ethnic tensions is not a threat to the regime, it's a threat to Iran as an entity. And that's why Iranians are very sensitive about that. And that's why the regime increases ethnic tensions to scare Iranian people from toppling the government. So, what the regime tries to do is to increase, and a lot of Iranians have realized that, and a lot of Iranians are trying to demonstrate that we're united and ethnic identities don't mean shit to us, and Persians and Kurds and Gilakis and Bakhtiaris and Lors and Turkmens and Azeris and Baluchis, we're all Iranians. Like, for example, this is why a lot of Iranians come and say, like, I'm Iranian first, Kurdish second, I'm Iranian first, Baluchi second, I'm Iranian first, Azeri second, right? I'm like, a lot of Iranians are trying to show that no, we're united as Iranians, and all of this division is basically a government method to try to show that there's chaos, and that because the government's narrative is that even if you hate me, you need me to keep Iran together. So they try to increase the tensions between ethnicities so that Iranians think like, okay, guys, let's not topple the regime, or else Iran would turn into different little like multiple pieces, which is a major, taboo for Iranians. But now that narrative is not working because if you want to topple the regimes, Iranians have to be united against the regime. You don't want if they're fighting each other, then they're not fighting the regime.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
would we do to get the regime out?
Huh?
No, I thought maybe the ethnic tension would make the collapse of the regime, and basically people would unite and create a new government. But I would be wrong.
No, people would turn against each other and get instead of the government. It would be the
Yeah, okay.
opposite. Yeah. Samantha, what was your
How do we get,
question?
like,
Sorry.
how do we get rid of the regime then?
Okay, so there's three types of pressure on the regime, right? We need to increase all three of them. So one is external pressure and two internal pressure. The external pressure that the Islamic Republic is experiencing is mostly from America and Israel. The internal pressure that the regime is facing is one from the Iranian people, three is from its own people, is from its own people within the regime itself that are becoming, you know, that they're turning against each other because of the power vacuum and because of all the division within the regime. So these are the three main sources of pressure against the Islamic Republic, right? So we have to work on all three of them. So when it comes to external pressure, more support for Israel and more unity with Israel and more lobbying of the United States to be more aligned with Israel. That's what we could do when it comes to external pressure. When it comes to internal pressure, and when it comes to the Iranian people, more support for Prince Reza Pahlavi and convincing more Iranians to unite under his leadership would be the key thing to do. We need to do more work in convincing people who work for the regime to turn against the regime and join the side of the people under the leadership of Prince Reza Pahlavi. So these are the three things that we need to focus on to topple the regime.
How do you do that? Like, how do you get, like, the people inside the regime?
Prince Reza Pahlavi has already a platform where people within the regime can join him anonymously in a secured platform. Tens of thousands of people from the military already joined his platform. So that was just a few days after he opened it. So I mean, there does seem to be a lot of people within the regime that would want their army to go back to the Pahlavi times. Yeah, Ahmed is in the chat saying, "Yes, I've seen that."
I was gonna say, how do you know that they're not compromised and that the regime knows they're with the Shah to the point?
So they already, okay, so obviously the people who are in charge of that, they already said that they are aware of this being something that they need to filter for. And they say they have their ways, but they cannot mention their ways because then the regime will know what their ways are. So I don't know what they're doing, but they say that they're aware of this threat, but they
Okay.
cannot share what the methodology is with us.
What if you, maybe this is stupid, maybe you try to call them heretics and say that they're not the original imams of the 12 religion. They're basically a false religion, right?
Oh, we're way past that point, Khalid. The regime itself is using anti-Islamic content creators to, like, the regime doesn't give a shit about Islam anymore. So that is not a good filter. The regime has lost the Islamic propaganda game among the Iranian people a long time ago. It has gotten to the point that they know how much Islamic narratives is useless to convince the Iranian people. So the regime has gone to the point that it's actually working because they know how popular anti-Islamic content is in Iran. They even go as far as working with anti-Islamic content creators to spread anti-Israel propaganda. That's their right now. That is their red lines. Like right now in Iran, you could get away by being anti-Khomeini and anti-Islam. That's how far things have gone. Like that's how much they have considered that battlefield lost. That they're not even enforcing that as much. Like women without hijab, being anti-Islam, being anti-Khamenei is like normalized here in Iran right now. So they're just trying to focus on the two red lines that they want to make sure that they don't lose, which is support for Pahlavi and support for Israel, which also shows where their weaknesses are.
But doesn't, like, the true believers
Okay.
see them promoting anti-Islam content and get angry?
it the most Muslims who are anti-Islamic Republic have accepted that apparently Iranians are just like this now. This normal. This is how it is, right? So this is like normal. Like you would, like it's actually a surprise. Like, oh my god, you're a young person and you're pro-Islam. Oh my god, look at this young boy that is still loves Islam. Bless you. We don't see this. This is like if you're like if you see a young guy that is like really pro-Islam, that is kind of like a rare thing, right? So I
But,
think
like,
that Muslims, yeah,
what are they fighting for if they're not fighting for Islam? Like, I don't
who
the
exactly
Islamic Republic.
for their survival.
The Iranians. I was
But
gonna say, I
Khalid,
think the Iranians want an empire. Sorry, sorry.
your audio is very low. I don't know what happened. Say that again.
I think the Iranians want an empire because historically, if you look at the Middle East historically, every empire in Iran has always controlled the region.
I mean,
Historically, they
when
don't
you
like.
say Iranians, you're talking about 90 people. You cannot talk about 90 people inside general terms. Many Iranians that I know, they don't want an empire, right? They just want their country back. They want their Pahlavi time back. They don't want their Sassanid back. They want their Pahlavi time back.
You misunderstand what I'm saying. I think the leadership of Iran, the regime,
Okay,
wants an
don't.
empire.
Okay, Khalid, don't refer to the regime as Iranians. We like
Okay,
they're yeah. Okay, go ahead.
okay. The regime, I think, wants an empire. They think they want to rebuild their whatever Persian slash Islamic empire. That's what I think they wanted, but they failed
They
so
want
much.
they don't want a Persian empire. They want a Shia empire.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But to your point, what are they fighting for? Within the regime, we have different types of people. They don't all think alike. Some of them are pragmatic, and some of them are very ideological. And they actually, right now, there is a civil war between them, right? So the ideological ones are the ones who are fighting for Islam, and their goal is to give the flag of the Islamic Republic and put it in the hands of the Mahdi, right? And their greatest dream is for the Mahdi to return during their lives, and they think that Iran is going to be the base of his operations, and their duty is to gather enough resources for his army. So when he's here, he has everything ready. He has an army ready, he has his money, he has all the resources he needs to go to war with the Jews and the West and everybody. They're preparing Iran for that. And they're basically convinced that many of them are convinced that they're going to see Mehdi in their lifetime. Those are the cuckoos, the crazies. But then we have these other group of people who are they're like, well, that's fucking retarded. They're not fighting for Islam, they're using Islam, right? And because they're more pragmatic, they're also more powerful. And they're kind of trying to cleanse the regime from these more ideological type of people. And you can see actually these more ideological people are losing power. The pragmatic ones are actually gaining more power.
Because you need the divide and conquer strategy.
They're right now divided more than ever before. That's a very good question. What originally worked in the divide was Israel humiliating the Islamic Republic. Divided many of the regime people because they were like, why is the regime so incapable of doing a proper response compared to other people who were like, oh no, we did actually give them response. We actually completely destroyed Tel Aviv. And we basically took down some of their F-35s. So the delusional ones actually believe these shits. But they were divided over this. Another source of division is many Iranian women not wearing hijab anymore. So that causes division because many people with the regime were like, is this even an Islamic country? We're not enforcing Islamic law anymore. Like, what the fuck? How is this the country of Mehdi when the Islamic law is not actually being enforced in Iran, right? So that causes a lot of division. So these are the main two reasons: the humiliation from not being able to respond to Israel, and the humiliation of Iranian women and Iranians as a whole. I think that increasing the humiliation by having now the new red lines are support for Pahlavi, and not just being humiliated by Israel, but being even humiliated more by seeing more Iranians being pro-Israeli. So these are like if more Iranians get to show their support for Pahlavi without the government being able to do anything about it, and more Iranians be able to show their support for Israel without the government being able to do anything about it. That source of humiliation will cause even more division within the government. You mean like pictures of Khamenei that Iranian people constantly burn left
No,
and
because
right?
it's like that's not important enough because it's just like random pictures that people print off the internet. I'm talking about like something you can't just print off the internet, something that there's only like one of, it's irreplaceable.
But they're not printing it. Like the government has it everywhere, and Iranian people go at night and burn it, like big billboards and shit like that,
But
right?
like those billboards are replaceable. Something that's like, this is the original monument of
So
them.
a lot of Iranian people are really interested in going and doing something to the burial ground of Khomeini. That's what they're very
Yes, that
interested
would
in
be
doing.
amazing if they could do that. That would like
The- Yeah,
yeah,
now
I
you're
know, like,
speaking
who's
the
ever gonna do
language.
that? Like, putting themselves lives in risk, but just tossing ideas out there
I
for
mean,
anyone who's willing to put lives at risk.
Like there's a lot of Iranian people fantasize about what they're going to do to the burial ground of Khomeini. Like this is usually a topic of discussion. People are going to say we need to go like I don't do this like weird shit. Some people are saying we should turn it into a strip club. Some people say we should turn it into a casino. But there's a lot of discussion on this topic for some reason.
I have a question. Uh, why did Khomeini attack the Shah even though they're both in the same religion? Why didn't Khomeini like said, "Oh, I don't agree with the Shah, but he's part of my religion, so why do I attack him?" I don't understand why
Bec-
he overthrew
because
the
this
Shah.
is because you're overemphasizing the importance of religion and underestimating the anti-imperial, anti-Zionist element within this. The Shah was friendly with the United States, and they considered him to be a puppet of the United States. The Shah was giving women the right to vote. The Shah was educating Iranians in Western universities. The Shah was friendly to Israel. These are unforgivable.
That's it. I mean, isn't that
These are
what
more
Iran?
important than anything else. This is more central than Islam itself to them.
So it
By the
was
way,
never
Nick
Islamic.
also doesn't like the fact that women vote.
Right.
I mean, they're all conservative right wingers. All conservative right wingers have the same philosophy, no matter where you find them. That's why Nick Fuentes and Khomeini and all these groups don't like the right for women to vote. Generally, they're not pro woman. Generally, I'm just saying.
No, definitely not.
Let me actually see if I could show you pictures of Khomeini's burial ground because they have turned it into a shrine more impressive than some of their Shia imams.
I've got an idea for
Aram.
what to do with his grave.
Mhm.
Turn it into a museum for Israel, all about how nice and great Israel is.
A lot of Iranian people would probably love that.
We'll do another one about Iran, just to, so it's fair. We'll do one about how great Iran is. Oh, you're
I
muted.
think you guys. Yeah, I know. I was typing something to in Persian. I think you already have that in Israel.
We have, I think, I might be wrong, but I think we have like about the Jews of Iran. I don't think we have anything dedicated to Iran itself, like modern Iran.
Hmm.
Uh,
Guys, let me actually show you how Khomeini's what Khomeini's burial ground like looks like. Look at this. Look what they made out of it. Look at this. This is where he's buried. It's like a shrine.
this is
Look
very
how
un-Jewish.
look how tall the ceilings are.
It looks like the burial for the kings in England. If you look at the churches, when a lot of the kings and the queens die, they put them in their special churches. Like they look like that big, that level.
Look, this he's inside there. His body's inside there. It's
It's
kind
kind
of
of
like a
weird.
religious. They turned him into like a like a
Idol.
sacred. Look,
I mean,
Quest.
This whole thing that he was pious and like he didn't like he was supposed to be like a pious man and didn't believe in like materialism and he's supposed to live like a normal like
He wanted to fuck infants. I mean, this is the burial ground for somebody who said that you could have sexual relationship with infants. He has that in his book, and this is how they celebrate him. Look at this.
Like it paid off.
What?
Looks like it paid off. Whatever he was doing and saying. I mean, look.
Shit. Unbelievable.
I wonder what would happen if like the regime falls and is that the whole building is gonna be on fire? Like the whole building is gonna be on fire or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think a lot of Iranians are going to be racist. A lot of Iranians have like the stories about where they're gonna, what they want to do first. Muhammad, have you heard them? Muhammad here is Iranian, like me. Like, have you heard? Like, what are the stories that people say? Like, oh, we're gonna go this, make this. What should we do with the mosques? What should we do with Imam Reza's burial ground? Turning it into a strip club or a casino seems to be on the top of the list for a lot of people.
In the
A lot
end, it
of
will
people like,
probably
oh
be
no,
turned into a convention center or something, you know?
yeah,
I mean, you
yeah. A
can
lot of people are saying don't destroy it. It's more insulting if you do something un-Islamic with it.
I mean, you can do it like the Russians. I think the Russians still have Lenin's body in some weird part of in Russia, but he's in a museum. It's part of history.
It's actually, guys, it's like a really big area. I think the structure and the internal decoration makes it really fit for a casino. Like, I've been to LA. I think inside this building, it looks better than so many of the casinos I've seen in Vegas. So I think
Well,
it will
yeah.
fit. Yeah.
How big is it? Do you know?
It's really big. I don't know exactly how big, but it's like a big area.
It's crazy to see
Yeah.
this and people that are poor. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so.
And mostly, it's interesting because mostly the people who go there to celebrate him are the poorest people. Like, rich people don't waste their time going there. It's mostly the poor people whose their wealth has been stolen to build that place. They're the ones who go there. I mean, it's
If you
now
look at
empty
our
again.
buildings, our government buildings in Israel, they don't look impressive at all. It's like I was thinking Trump comes, he comes to when he talks, the White House, or when he comes to talk to Congress or stuff like this. It's such an amazing building. Then he comes to the Israeli parliament, he looks like like a warehouse in comparison.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what they have in America looks like a warehouse to where when he goes to Saudi Arabia or Qatar.
Yes, yes.
Trump gets impressed by these things, and I think this is why, like, one of the reason why he takes them seriously. Like, he goes to Israel and he says like, meh, and he goes to Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Like, holy fucking shit! I have been doing construction all my life, and I've never seen anything this glorious, right? And he gets impressed by all the
Yeah, I think
amazing,
you're right.
yeah. And I think he gets jealous because, like, motherfuckers, I'm the most powerful man in the world, and I don't have anything like this in America. Like, why do they live? What? I genuinely think he gets jealous, and he wants to have things like this in America. He
Well,
wants to
yeah,
have
Maybe
military parades and
I'd like to have, amazing architecture in Israel, but we've got other priorities.
yeah, priorities. Greg, you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say you're probably right about that with Trump.
I'm just obsessed with being like the biggest and the strongest.
Khalid?
I was gonna say he wants just to be the strongest and the biggest, and he wants all the glam for himself. He wants
Yeah,
big mansions, shit like that.
yeah. I don't think Trump can get like really doesn't hate other people being better than him. I think that's probably one of the reasons why he was so successful. I think people like Elon Musk and Trump and other people, they get that big because they can't just deal with the idea of somebody being better than them. They just can't tolerate that. This is why Elon Musk had to be better at like video games as well. Like he had to come up with a way to show that he's the best at video games. Like the idea of somebody being above them is just torture.
Trump is an enigma to me. He's always been like, I cannot never just, people have their clear views on Trump. I cannot figure out what the heck he is. I don't know. One day I think he's a complete narcissist, like on the spectrum narcissist. And then another time I think he actually cares, and I just can't figure him out.
I mean, those are not contradictory though. They could be
Yeah,
both
maybe
of
not.
those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
He might want to show. Maybe he also wants to compete over caring. Yeah, I'm the most caring. Like you could be a narcissist. You could be a narcissist, and then if you say like somebody else cares more, like then you want to compete over that.
I have a relative that worked for the Trump family. He's an architect and he specializes in skyscrapers and basically large, tall buildings. So he worked with them and he met his daughter and he said they were really impressive, actually. They know their shit. They get stuff done. She knows all the stuff in the industry. So he said you can't bullshit them. They know everything. They know how things work. They know how long they should take. They know how to check you. They're really efficient at what they do. At least that was his, impression. He only did one